Some people suffer because crimes are being committed. Bildad told Job that his children had sinned. Well, whose children don't sin? The only fool that would say you're in trouble because your children sin is somebody that doesn't have children. Amen. I was an expert on teenagers until my sons turned 13. Zophar told Job he needs to purge himself of all of his sins and seek God's forgiveness. And until he did that, he would be a mockery. He went on to tell Job that he deserved everything that happened to him. You better be careful telling folk what they deserve. See, these friends, they were religious. They went to church. And they thought they knew a lot about God. But there's a difference, Deacon Jackson, between knowing about God and being a friend of God. You see, a friend of God, like a friend of anybody else, knows so much about God because of their friendship, because of their relationship, because of fellowship. A friend of God knows that the rain falls on the just and the unjust. A friend of God would know that God doesn't need us to judge one another, but rather love one another. A friend of God would have known that we're all in the throes of spiritual warfare between good and evil, darkness and light, heaven and hell. A friend of God would have to understand that Job was collateral damage in a war that was raging. We need friends who are not like those disciples in John chapter 9 who saw the blind man and wanted to know who had sinned to cause him to be blind. We need somebody so close to God in our life that understands that anything wrong with us just gives God a chance to prove that God can bring us out. I'm so sick of phony, sanctified Christians with all their slogans and their big Bibles and don't do a thing to help anybody. They got raggedy lives but can't see it. They got bad kids and don't know it. They got trifling personalities and nobody's ever told them. We need to grow up and see that Job's friends knew about God but weren't friends of God. You see, many of us can't outgrow our trouble. Some of us have the same problems this year we had last year because we got the same no good friends. And we need friends. We need friends who will be there with us, friends who will support us, friends who will undergird us. We're not like trees in the forest that grow up independently of others. We are gregarious creatures. God programmed us to need each other. But you need a friend who not only knows how to wobble, you need a friend that knows how to pray.